Hey, well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Digital Yoga Church this morning with the amazing Karen Hughes. I don't know about you, but it's been kind of an exhausting week, and we're living in this new digital world, where we're quarantined and there's really no boundaries to the amount of work that we can do. And one of the beautiful things about yoga is that it's restorative, that it's restful, that it gets us in touch with our bodies, our minds, and our souls in this profound way where it has this refreshing, recharging effect. And for us, for Karen and I and others, this is an act of worship. It's an act of prayer, and it's a gift to God. So you don't have to be a Christian to join us. We both come from a Christian perspective, but we welcome all people. If you have no faith, not sure if you have faith, little bit of faith, exploring faith, whatever, we just welcome you today. I did want to quickly just give a little tweet about Jesus, something that he told his disciples, Jesus of Nazareth. He had this practice where it says that he would go away to the eremas, which means wilderness, solitary space, the quiet space. And he would go and he would tune himself to God. And he would break away from the craziness of work, and he would just be in the presence of the Father. As you join us this morning, if you don't mind, if you want to post any comments, questions, prayers that you have as we go along, we would welcome that. And also, if you wouldn't mind placing your name in the feed and where you are. We would love to know who you are and where you are. And of course, if you want to connect with us in any deeper way, you can always just send me an email at reverendwildone@gmail.com. And would love to get to know you and hear your story and set up a time to meet. So back to this passage. So the disciples notice that Jesus does this, that he goes away to the solitary place, he prays, he does this frequently. And so they say, Lord, teach us to pray. Teach us how to do what you do. And so he gives us this thing called the Lord's Prayer. This is in the Gospel of Luke today in the 11th chapter. And it's the prayer, maybe you probably have heard it. It's a well-known prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. But then right after that prayer, there's something very significant that we sometimes just kind of cross right over. And he talks about, asking and you'll receive, seek and you'll find, and knock and the door will be open. But then he makes this profound statement. He says, even bad people or people that do bad things or people that are operating in some place of brokenness and that's spilling out on others, even they know how to give good gifts, right? So how much do you think your creator, the creator of the universe, will give you good things when you ask? And Jesus says these words, how much more will your Father in heaven give the Holy Spirit to those who ask? And the Holy Spirit, in the Christian tradition, we understand as the Spirit of God, the living breath of God, a person of God, that that the goal of prayer is not to rattle off our wish list. We need this, that, or this, or God, give me, give me. The goal of prayer is to attune ourselves, according to Jesus, to the presence of God, to be a temple of the Holy Spirit, to breathe out all the things that maybe get stuck in our soul, and the negativity and the harm that may come on us, to breathe all that out and to breathe in the presence of God. And one way to really do that in a profound way is through the practice of yoga. So I'm going to turn it over to Karen this morning, and she's going to lead us in this prayerful, worshipful time.
Well, welcome to our yoga practice. Let us begin with the breath of yoga. Close your eyes and just begin to breathe. And as you close your eyes and begin to breathe, let's clear our minds of all the clutter, any negativity, and just quiet your mind, quiet your thoughts, and just spend a moment by yourself, breathing and being aware of your breath. And as you breathe and clear your mind, let's make our breath a little bit bigger, a little bit longer. A longer inhale followed by an even longer exhale. As you breathe, become aware of your breath so that you can use your breath to guide you through your practice today. And know that this is your practice. Become aware of your body, mind, and spirit as we go through our different poses. And if anything doesn't feel right for you or for your body, it's okay. You can modify. You can just take a break. You can go into a child's pose. This is your practice. Let it benefit you and your body. And on the next breath, let's open our eyes, sit nice and tall. Take your arms out long with your palms up. Inhale to float the hands up, and exhale, hands over heart center. Namaste. Inhale to float the hands up, reach the arms out long, make it a big stretch, moving with your own breath at your own pace. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. One more big inhale and exhale. Only to reach the arms as high as you can reach and reach the arms out as long as you can reach, letting your fingertips float down to the earth, soft like feathers. Go on and flip your left palm up, bring it up and over as we go into some soft side stretches, alternating side to side at your own pace with your own breath. Note that the slower you move, the more stress you release out of your joints. So slower is better. And go on and rest your hands down, sitting as tall as you can as we go into some shoulder shrugs with breath. Inhale up with the shoulders and exhale, slowly push the shoulders down. Inhale and exhale. In through the nose and out through the nose. And on this next shoulder raise, up, go around to the back for a big shoulder roll to the back, slow and big. Inhaling and exhaling with each shoulder roll, just releasing any tension in the upper back. And on this next shoulder roll, let's keep our shoulders down away from our earlobes, pushing them down and growing tall through the crown of the head as we go into a couple of neck stretches, letting our left earlobe fall towards our left shoulder with a heavy head. And on the next breath, lift your head up and slowly look over your right shoulder with breath. Inhale to look over the shoulder and exhale to come back to the center. Sit tall again as you let your right earlobe fall towards your right shoulder with a heavy head, and breathe. Sometimes you'll hear me breathe and exhale through my mouth, and that's fine for you to do also. But as an instructor, it's just my way of encouraging you to be aware of your breath so that you can hear the breath, reminding you to breathe. On the next breath, let's lift our heads, sit as tall as you can, and then slowly look over your left shoulder with breath. Inhaling to look over the shoulder and exhaling to come back to the center. Let's take our hands onto our knees, bend your knees, and if you are uncomfortable with your legs folded, maybe you take your feet out in front. That's perfectly okay. As we go into a seated cat and cow, you'll use your hand grip on your knees and slowly hinge forward, lifting your heart, lifting your gaze, filling your lungs up with air. Inhale. And on the exhale, you're going to nod your chin and round your back like a Halloween cat. Inhale, coming into seated cow pose. Exhale into cat pose. Inhale. And exhale. One more cat and cow pose. Inhale. And exhale. Stay in your cat pose. Nod your chin. Hold on to your knees and round your spine. Stretching the spine, creating space between each vertebra. As we move into some upper body circles, taking your upper body forward and circling in slow motion, rounding as you come to the back, and lifting your heart as you come forward. Let your circles be only as big as it feels good for your body, warming up the spine mobility. Let us switch the direction of our circles. And one more big circle, and then we will move into seated cobra or seated butterfly. So the soles of the feet come together as the knees go away. If you have any lower back issues, maybe you keep your feet away, or maybe you want a little more. You can bring your feet in. You can even rock your body a little closer to your heels. Grab hold to your ankles or your shins. Sit as tall as you can. And then hinge forward with a long spine, dropping your elbows over your inner knees. Gently press them as you tuck your chin and let your nose fall towards your feet, relaxing your neck and your shoulders and stretching the lower back. On the next breath, let's roll the spine up, articulating the spine, one vertebra on top of the other as we straighten our legs out in front of us into staff pose. So in staff pose, we ground our legs as we flex our feet, pointing our toes up towards the ceiling. I use my fingertips under my armpits to sit just a little taller, and you're in staff pose. But if you want a little more, maybe you float your arms out to the side or all the way up to the ceiling, reaching for the sky. And then hinge just 2 or 3 inches with a long spine and pause here for 3 breaths. It helps here to pull your belly into your spine to activate your core. Now you can stay here, or if your spine allows you, you can move into a forward fold, reaching still as far as you can with your fingers above your ears, reaching for your toes. Tuck your chin and let your nose slowly fall towards your knees. You can bend your knees here if you need to, and maybe with each breath, you try to straighten your knees just a little. We're going to stay in forward fold for 3 more breaths. On the next breath, let's roll the spine up, articulating the spine, stacking 1 vertebra at a time as we sit nice and tall. Go on and pull your left knee in, and then we'll take our left foot over our right knee. As we move into a spinal twist, if you want more, you can go on and take that right heel back for a little more or not. As you take your left hand around to the back of your mat, go on and take your left arm up to the ceiling and drop your left elbow on top of your front knee or to the outside for more rotation. Lift your heart, lift your gaze, and breathe. Half Lord of the Fishes pose. On the next breath, we'll slowly come out of our pose, back into staff pose, sitting tall once again. Grounding your legs, growing tall through the crown of the head. Maybe you stay here, maybe you float your arms out or up to the ceiling. And hinge forward 2 or 3 inches and pause for 3 breaths. As again, you activate your core, pulling your belly into your spine and grounding your sits bones and your legs into the earth. On the next breath, if your spine allows you, you can begin your forward fold, reaching for your toes, bending your knees if you need to, letting your nose fall towards your knees, and breathing 3 breaths here. On the next breath, let's begin to roll our spine back up, articulating the spine. Once again, sitting nice and tall, this time pulling the right knee in, crossing the right foot over the left leg as we move into our spinal rotation here. You can stay here, or if you wish to take your left heel towards your right hip for a little more, that's an option. Going to take your right arm around to the back of your mat. As you float your left arm up, reach for the sky or the ceiling. And then you can just drop your elbow to the top knee or to the outside of the knee for more rotation as you slowly rotate around to your right and breathe, keeping your heart lifted and your gaze lifted. On the next breath, slowly come back around, uncrossing the legs and coming onto your hands and knees. Bringing your hands to the front of your mat, wrists are under the shoulders, knees are under the hips, and your alignment is wrist, knee, and feet are all in one straight line. A kneeling cat and cow. Let's move into cat pose first, nodding your chin, looking at your belly, rounding your spine, and pulling your belly into your spine. And then slowly we move into cow pose, softening the elbows as you drop your belly towards your mat and lift your heart, lift your gaze, fill your lungs up with air. Inhale. And on the exhale, roll through the spine like a wave into cat pose. Remember to move at your own pace with your own breath. Breath is important here. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And on this cat pose, hold your cat pose as we go into big hip circles, letting your hips sway over to the left and then coming over the left heel. And the right heel out to the right and back to the center. Big, slow hip circles, switching the direction with each circle. Inhaling and exhaling. And two more. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Now we're just going to tuck our toes under. We're going to go into a bent knee plank by tucking our toes under, stretching the soles of our feet, lifting your knees about 2 inches off your mat and pulling your belly into your spine. Neck is in alignment with the spine. We're going to try to hold this plank pose for 5 breaths. Now, no, you can always bring your knees back down at any time. On the next breath, lower knees, uncurl your toes, and come up to kneeling. Kneeling nice and tall, and then sitting back onto your heels. This is called diamond pose. If it hurts your knees, you need to come out of the pose and just stay in your child's pose. Sit tall and breathe. Maybe close your eyes here as you pull your belly into your spine and feel the stretch. You can stay here, but if you want more, maybe you take your hands behind your toes, walk them back, lift your heart, lift your gaze. And if you're more advanced, you can always drop down to your elbows. On the next breath, let's come up to tall kneeling again, taking your fingers out in front of your knees, tucking your toes under, and rolling back into crouch pose. All you're going to do is lift your knees as you balance on the balls of your feet, and tuck your chin, bring your nose to your knees, and just relax in crouch pose. This pose is meant to release any anxiety that you might have. Breathe 3 breaths and crouch pose. On the next breath, we're going to tuck our chin, look at our bellies, we drop our heels, straighten your legs, and you're in a standing forward fold. Just like the staff pose, forward fold, but now you're standing. So you can bend your knees if you need to. If you want a little more, maybe you take your fingertips under your heels, pull against your heels to bring your nose a little closer to your knees. And with each exhale, maybe straighten the legs just a little more, bring your nose a little closer to your knees. On the next breath, we're going to walk our hands out and our feet back so we are in a downward dog. So in downward dog, your heels are up, your sits bones are pressing up. It's as though you were pressing the earth away with the heels of your hands and with the balls of your feet. Keep your eyes on your knees. If you have high blood pressure or glaucoma, you can come down to a puppy, or you can go into child's pose. Otherwise, we're going to stay in downward dog, pressing our left heel down, bending our right knee, Press your right heel down, bend your left knee, and then left heel, right, left, right, left. All right, pressing both heels down, sits bones up. As we move into plank, you're going to lift your heels up as high as you can to help you place your shoulders over your wrist into a full plank. Straight arms, straight legs. It's an option to drop the knees. That's perfectly okay. Just continue to pull your belly into your spine. And transition your weight through your whole body instead of just your upper body. Breathe 3 more breaths here. Be aware of your neck alignment. It should be in alignment with your spine. Next, we're going to move into Cobra Pose, dropping the knees, uncurling the toes, squeezing the elbows in to slowly lower your body down, all the way down, chest to nose, everything down to your mat. In Cobra Pose, your lower discs do compress. So if you have any lower back issues, you may only have a little cobra, maybe 1 or 2 inches you lift and come back down. Otherwise, listen to your body. You know what you can do and come up as high as it feels good for your body. In your Cobra Pose, breathe 3 breaths. On the next breath, you're just going to push back into a child's pose for 1 breath. As we flow through our vinyasas, we tuck our toes under and come back into downward dog, unless you're someone that stays in child's pose as an option to downward dog. Pressing the left heel down, right, left, right. Pressing both heels down, sits bones up. Lifting the heels, moving into your plank pose, wrists are under the shoulders. Maybe you bring your knees down. Maybe you go back to Cobra. If you want more, you can join me for Chaturanga. Squeeze your elbows in and lower your body so that your elbows are holding your body up, and breathe. You can always come back down to Cobra at any time. 3 breaths in Chaturanga or Cobra Pose. And on the next breath, let's move back into Child's Pose, only to transition if we choose into Downward Dog. In Downward Dog, we press our left heel down, right, left, right. Pressing both heels down and sits bones up. Lifting both heels, moving back into plank. Let's hold this plank for 5 breaths. This is our last vinyasa with plank. It's okay to bring your knees down if you need to. And then on the next breath, you can go back into Cobra or Chaturanga. I'm going to move into Up Dog, uncurling my toes, floating my hips towards the mat, but they don't touch. As I lift my heart, lift my gaze, and breathe. Pull your belly into your spine. Breathing 3 breaths here. And then on the next breath, moving into Child's Pose, this time for 3 breaths. On the next breath, coming into Child's Pose, lifting the sits bones high, and stepping forward or hopping forward into a standing forward fold. Hang down there like a rag doll. And if you want more, maybe you wiggle your hips just a little bit. Left to right, right to left. You can stay here, continue to breathe, or you can join me for a yoga squat. We're going to take our heels out, then our big toes out, and then drop down into yoga squat, pressing the knees apart, lifting your gaze, lifting your heart, and breathing. This is a restorative pose. If you can get down into the squat, if not, it's best that you just stay at a standing forward fold. Let us breathe 5 breaths here. It's okay to close your eyes and just meditate or pray here. On the next breath, if you're in a yoga squat, drop your hands, swing your heels out as you tuck your chin and roll up one vertebra at a time, all the way up to standing, reaching your hands all the way up to the ceiling, and then hands over heart center as we come back into standing mountain pose. Hands come down, palms are forward. Let us close our eyes in mountain pose unless you have balance issues. Close your eyes, taking away one of your senses so that you become more aware of your connection of the soles of your feet to the earth. Grow tall like a mountain and strong and sturdy like a mountain. And breathe. Remember this connection of the soles of your feet pressing into your mat as you open your eyes and we move into tree pose. You can take your hands over your heart center, but remember this is your tree pose, so really your arms and hands can be wherever you wish them to be. So we'll do it in a progressive style. Stay where you need to. First we'll lift the heel. Maybe that's where you stay. Maybe you turn the heel to sit against your inside ankle. Maybe you progress sliding your foot softly up your leg. Some pick their foot up and put it inside their thigh. That's okay too. Remember, this is your tree pose. Continue to grow through the crown of your head as you press all four corners of the standing leg foot into your mat. And breathe. If your mat is thick, sometimes it's easier to come onto the hard floor. I like to challenge myself a little more. I'm on 2 mats, which makes it harder. But I personally like that challenge. So remember, it's your challenge. Now I have a little extra challenge, only if you wish. Staying in tree pose. If you want more, close your eyes for 3 breaths. It's very hard. Maybe you just drop your big toe down. And on the next breath, open your eyes if they're closed. Come back into mountain pose. This time we're going to do our mountain pose with our hands over our heads in prayer. And then as you squeeze your elbows into your temples, press your hips forward, support your head with your elbows as you gaze up. And breathe. On the next breath, release your hands, drop your arms, relax your arms, shoulder rolls back. 3, and 2, and 1. As we move into tree pose on the other side, remember your hands can be over your heart, or maybe you like them wide. Maybe you're a fat bush today. It's your tree pose. Lifting up your right heel. Maybe you stay there. Maybe you put the heel on the inside ankle of the standing leg. Maybe you float the foot up or not. And breathe in your tree pose. And on the next breath, coming out of your tree pose, relax your hands down. As we separate our feet as wide as you can, wider than your shoulders. The wider, the easier it is to go into a standing straddle split, floating your arms out to a T. As we hinge over into good morning pose, halfway down, lengthening through the spine all the way through the crown of the head, the legs straight and the hips moving away and towards the back wall. And we'll move into revolving triangle here, dropping your left fingers under your chest, or maybe the whole palm of the hand comes down. As you float your right arm up towards the ceiling along with your gaze, and breathe. 3 breaths here. On the next breath, come back into your good morning pose, reaching your arms out long, lengthening through the spine and through the neck. As we move into revolving triangle on the other side, dropping your right fingers down or the palm of your right hand down. As you float your left hand and gaze up to the ceiling and breathe for 3 breaths. On the next breath, go on and drop that left hand down so both hands or fingertips are under your chest. Look through your legs, relax your neck. And maybe you want more. You can take your toes out, your heels out, getting really wide and dropping your elbows down. Maybe dropping the crown of your head down to your mat. And breathe 3 breaths here. On the next breath, go on and straighten out your arms. We're going to turn both feet towards your right so that you're in a deep runner's lunge, straddling your right foot. Make sure your right knee is over your right ankle and you're in a deep runner's lunge. From here, we can go into a kneeling crescent lunge, dropping your back knee down, uncurling your back toes, bringing your hands on top of your knee, lifting your heart. And then lifting your arms up, reaching for the ceiling. And if you want more, you can add a twist, dropping the left hand to the inside ankle as you twist to your right. And then go on and float your top hand down so both hands are on the inside of your front ankle. You can stay here, or if you want more, you can drop down to your elbows. On the next breath, if your elbow's down, go on and straighten your arms. Straddle your front foot. Come back into your deep runner's lunge. As we move into standing crescent lunge, be careful here. You might want to take your hands to your knees first. As you lift your heart, stay steady. Reach your arms up. And then warrior 1, we just turn our back foot out. Warrior 2, we open our arms, bringing our right arm forward, left arm to the back. Ideally, your wrists are stacked over your ankles, something to work towards. Lift your heart, pull your belly into your spine, activate your core. This is where a lot of strength and renewal comes in your yoga practice here. And then we'll move into peaceful warrior. Drop your back hand to your back leg, flip your front palm up, and begin to reach up towards the ceiling. Or if you want more, continue over the head towards the back. Into a reverse warrior. From here, we'll come back into warrior 2 to reset. As we move into side angle, dropping the right elbow to the right knee or the right hand to the inside right ankle or the shin, floating the back hand up, gazing up to the ceiling, or maybe just down to the big toe. And then on the next breath, come back into warrior 2 to reset. As we move into triangle, straighten your front knee, hand your upper body forward, dropping your hand either to your thigh or shin or to the inside ankle. Once again, gazing down to your big toe or up towards the ceiling at your hand reaching up for the ceiling. And then coming back into warrior 2. And then let's go ahead and take that left arm forward, back into warrior 1. And then back into crescent lunge, lifting the back heel, turning down. Go on and hinge over back into your deep runner's lunge. As you step forward with your back foot, lift your hips back into standing forward fold, hanging down like a rag doll. This time, let's bend our left knee, right, left, right, left, right. Bend both knees. And we're going to move into chair pose here. Float your arms up towards the ceiling. Pretend you're sitting in a chair. Look down. Be sure you can see your toenails. If not, lift up a little higher. Pull your belly into your spine. Breathe. 3 breaths in chair pose. On the next breath, stand up and swan dive down into a standing forward fold, only to step back with your right foot into a deep runner's lunge on this side. You can come to your fingertips or hands. Make sure your alignment is good here, with your front knee over your front ankle and not over your toes. And then we'll drop that back knee, uncurl the back toes. You can stay here or come into a kneeling crescent lunge. Hands on the knees, lift the heart. Lift the arms, reach for the ceiling. And then if you still want more, adding that twist, dropping the right hand down, twisting to your left, gazing up. And then floating the top hand down to the inside ankle. You can keep your arms straight or you can drop down to your elbows, whichever feels best for you. It's your practice. Everybody's body is built so differently. That's why we all move differently. I find it much easier to come to the elbows on one side than the other, and that's very common. So if that's the same for you, it's okay. And then from there, we're going to straddle that front foot as we move into our warrior series here. Tuck your toes back behind you. Lift your back knee. Bring your hands to your top knee. Lift your heart. Lift your arms into standing crescent lunge. And then warrior one, turn your back foot to the side. And warrior two, drop your arms out. Look at your alignment. Can you stack your wrist over your ankles? I may have said shoulders before ankles. And then we're going to move into peaceful warrior, dropping your back hand to your back leg. Flip your front palm up and begin to reach up towards the ceiling. Or if you want more, maybe you go into reverse warrior. And pause and breathe for 3 breaths. And then move back into warrior two. As we move into side angle, you can drop your hand or your elbow to your front knee or your hand to the inside of your front ankle as you float your back hand up. Gaze down or up to your hand. And then slowly come back into your warrior two to reset. As we move into triangle, straighten out your front knee. Hinge forward, dropping your front hand to your thigh or shin, or to the inside of your front ankle, floating the back hand up. Gazing down or gazing up to your top hand. And then bending your knee, coming back into warrior two. And then taking your back arm forward, reaching up towards the ceiling into warrior one. And then crescent lunge, lifting your back heel. And then back into runner's lunge, lifting the hips and sliding your back foot forward. And again into ragdoll or forward fold. And breathe 3 breaths here. Again, you can swish your hips side to side for a little more. And then we're going to step back into downward dog, lifting your hips high, even higher than before. And then dropping to your knees and coming to kneeling, sitting or kneeling as tall as you can. As we move into gate pose, we're going to take our left foot out and our left leg out long, turning your foot sideways. Float your arms out, and we can go into a wonderful stretch here, dropping your left hand to your left thigh, flipping your right palm up, reaching up for strength and over for flexibility. And then coming back tall, only to drop your right hand down, floating your left hand up, modified side plank. Now, if you wanted more, you could go on and come into a full side plank, straightening your left leg behind your right. And breathe 3 breaths here. And then slowly coming back to kneeling, coming back all the way up to tall, sliding the foot in, dropping the hands and bringing your hands behind your hips. We're going to go into a kneeling camel. So as you squeeze your elbows towards each other, you open your heart. Gaze down and press your hips forward. It's contraindicated to roll your head back if you're over 55, but maybe it's something you like to do anyway. It's your practice, it's your body, listen to it. Slowly come back up to tall, kneeling. As you float your arms out, take your right foot out, slide your right leg out long so that your right foot is turned forward. You should feel nice and balanced. As we go into a nice stretch, drop your right hand down, flip your left palm up, reach up for strength and over for flexibility. And breathe, 3 breaths here. And on the next breath, come back to tall kneeling. And we're going to drop that left hand down, right arm goes up, modified side plank. You can stay here, or if you want more, let the hand come down flat as you straighten out your left leg behind your right. And hold. Be sure your neck stays in alignment here with your spine. And hold for 3 breaths. And then slowly, if you're in full plank, drop the knee, come back up to tall kneeling, slide the foot back in. Go on and take your hands back by your knees, back by your heels. Keep your chin on your chest if you can. Or maybe you roll your head back. Slowly come back to tall kneeling, float the hands up. Inhale, exhale, hands over. Heart center. As we come back to seated, you can cross your ankles and just roll back to your buttocks with your feet in front, or transition whatever way feels good for you. So pull your heels in, take your hands in front of your shins to grow tall for a little posture stretch as we prepare for boat pose. Take your hands behind your knees, roll past your tailbone. Gaze down to your belly, pull your belly into your spine, then lift your chin, lift your chest, lift one leg into tabletop, and then the other. Maybe you stay here, maybe you put your hands down for balance, or maybe you want more, you float your arms up. Hold your boat pose for 5 breaths. If you can always come out of your pose at any time. On the next breath, bring your hands behind your knees and hinge forward for another big posture stretch. Only to roll past that tailbone once again as we transition onto our backs, lifting our feet and slowly rolling the spine down 1 vertebra at a time. Pulling your knees into your chest. Close your eyes here, bear hug your knees and gently rock them side to side. As you bear hug your knees into your chest, begin to do some ankle circles in both directions. Remembering that the bigger you move a joint, the more tension you release. So try to do a slow, big ankle circle in both directions on each foot. And then we're going to move into modified happy baby, pulling your left knee to your left armpit and your right knee to your right armpit. Continue to pull the knees towards the armpit as you press your tailbone towards the mat. And breathe. If you want a full happy baby, you can float your toes over your knees, sliding your hands up to grab your big toes or your ankles. And then maybe you rock side to side like a baby rocks in a crib. And then releasing your happy baby, bring your legs up the wall as though your legs were sitting against a wall. You can support your legs with your hands behind your thighs, or just drop your hands to your mat. We want our legs to be weightless as our body is grounded. Close your eyes here. We're moving into Savasana, final relaxation. Let's go and float our feet down with our knees bent. Let your feet come to your mat, sits bones width apart. Relax your body. Begin to press your lower back into the mat, your belly into your spine. This is a pelvic tilt. Inhale. On the exhale, untilt the pelvis. Inhale to tilt the pelvis up. Exhale to untilt. Move slowly and small. Inhale, tilting up. Exhale, untilting. On the next tilt, begin to peel your spine up one vertebra at a time as you inhale. And on the exhale, you're going to peel your spine down. So we're going into a small bridge with breath. So the bigger the breath, the bigger the bridge. Inhale up. And exhale, you're just peeling the spine down one vertebra at a time. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Just relax the pelvis. Let's lift up our right ankle and put it on top of our left knee, pushing your right knee away. Maybe you stay here, maybe you want more. You can lift up your left foot, grab behind your left thigh or in front of your left shin as you pull your knee towards your chest. And then slowly, maybe you rock your legs side to side. Or maybe you just let your legs fall to the left about 8 inches and breathe 3 breaths. Coming back to the center as we switch to the other side, dropping the right foot down, bringing the left ankle on top of the right knee as you softly press your left knee away. Maybe that's enough for you. Maybe you need more, you want more, you lift up your right foot, grab behind your right thigh or in front of your right shin as you gently pull your knee towards your chest. And then maybe you do slow motion rocking side to side. Very gentle, like you're rocking a baby. Or maybe you just let your legs fall to the right about 8 inches and pause as you continue to gently pull the knee towards the chest. Slowly come back to the center, uncross the legs. Let the feet come about shoulder width apart with your knees bent and your arms out in a T with your palms up. Let your knees fall over to the left. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, and the next exhale, come up to the center and let your knees fall towards the floor on the right. And breathe. Slowly float your knees back to the center. As we move into supine butterfly, let the soles of the feet come together as your knees fall away from each other. If your lower back feels funny or it hurts, try pressing your lower back into the mat, your belly into your spine. It's a pelvic tilt. It should release any lower pain. You can stay here for our final Savasana, or you can straighten your legs. Get in a very comfortable position and take this time for yourself to just be still, to be in the wilderness, to come in awareness with your body, your mind, and your spirit, and breathe. Relax your toes and the balls of your feet, the arches of your feet, your heels, your calves. backs of your knees and your thighs. Relax your buttocks and your spine, your lower back and your middle back. Your upper back with your shoulder blades melting into your mat. Can you relax your shoulders just a little more? Relax your arms, the insides of your elbows and the insides of your wrist, the palms of your hands and your fingers. Relax your thumbs. As you relax your thumbs, your shoulders should relax just a little more. Relax your hips and your pelvis, your belly, your rib cage, your chest. Relax your neck and your scalp. All the muscles in your face, relax them. Relax your forehead, your eyebrows and your eyelids, even your cheekbones and your nose and your chin, your ears, your jaw, your teeth, unclench them. Let them part. Let your tongue fall away from your teeth. Relax your lips and just be. Just be in the moment and breathe. In this relaxed state, let us open up our hearts. Letting your hearts be filled with love, and grace, and gratitude, and peace. In this relaxed state, let us move into purifying breaths, renewing the old air for new air. Inhale as deep as you can in through your nose, so deep that your tummy rises high. And pause. And then a long exhale through the mouth so that you can hear your exhale. Exhaling all the old air out of your body. Inhale deep, 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 maybe inhaling love into your being. And exhaling any hate that you might have. Again, inhale so deep, inhaling grace. And long exhale. And again, inhaling gratitude. And exhaling any negativity that brings us down. And with your last purifying breath, let us inhale peace into our hearts, peace into our beings. And exhale, knowing that we can change the world one person at a time by our own hearts, where it starts. Peace. May your hearts be filled with peace today. As we return to normal breath in through the nose and out through the nose, let us roll over onto our sides if you are comfortable doing so, maybe in a fetal position representing renewal. And you can stay there and just take a rest, or if you'd like to come back up to seated the way we started our practice, let us come up into a seated comfortable position with the knees bent a little or a lot. growing tall through the crown of the head. Let us close our eyes and use this time to lift up prayer requests. If you have any prayers, silently or maybe openly in your own home or wherever you are, let's lift them up. Let us support each other in prayer. And on the next breath, let's open our eyes. Take your arms out long with your palms up. I hope you feel renewed and restored from your practice today. Thank you so much for joining us. Inhale to float the hands up. Exhale, hands over heart center. Namaste. Peace be with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. We just want to thank you so much for joining us this morning. Give it up for Karen wherever you are. We are just so grateful to have her every Friday with us. She is truly a wild one at heart, and so just has a love and a passion for connecting with people. So thank you, Karen. Listen, I just want to reiterate what Michael said this morning. In our current situation where we're at home, and some of us are working from home. Others of us, we're just finding things to keep ourselves busy. I want to encourage you to not just make Friday morning your time of connection with the creation around you and with yourself, but to find some time each and every day to just be able to center yourself, quiet your spirit, and to be able to really be observant to everything that is around you. I'm telling you, that is how we will sow those seeds in our own hearts of joy and of peace. Join us on Sunday, 9 o'clock and 11 a.m. for our live worship experience. It's right from our living room to your living room. We love each and every one of you. Have a blessed, beautiful day.